There is a feeling, deep in our oldest memories, that the ocean is not our home. It's a place of crushing depth, of cold, and of teeth. For all of human history, that primal fear has had a face. It is the face of the shark. An unblinking eye, a torpedo of muscle and cartilage. A creature so perfectly designed for its purpose that it has ruled the seas, virtually unchanged, for over 400 million years. They were here before the trees. They were here before the dinosaurs. They have survived every mass extinction this planet has ever thrown at them. They are not just an animal. They are a fundamental force of nature, an ancient, governing presence. The king. But what happens when a 400-million-year-old dynasty is brought to its knees in less than 50 years? What happens when the king is assassinated? This isn't a metaphor. Right now, as you are listening to this, we are killing them. By the tens of millions. Some estimates say 100 million sharks, every single year. They are caught in nets meant for other fish, a tragedy called bycatch. They are hunted for their fins. Their bodies dumped back into the ocean, alive, to sink and drown. We are systematically, globally, and efficiently removing the ocean's apex predator. This is more than just a conservation crisis. It is the beginning of an ecological mystery, an experiment we are running in real time on a global scale with no idea of the outcome. When you remove the apex predator, you don't just create an empty space. You shatter a system. You create a power vacuum. And in nature, a throne never stays empty for long. The kingdom doesn't just pause. A war for the crown begins, and the question that should be keeping scientists, and us, awake at night is not just, are we sad the sharks are gone? The real question is, what comes next? What creature is waiting in the wings to take that empty throne? The answer is more terrifying, more alien, and more intelligent than you can possibly imagine. What does a king actually do? We see the violence, the teeth, the hunt, the sudden, brutal explosion of water. But that is not a king's real power. A king's real power is control. The simple threat of that violence is enough to shape the behavior of an entire kingdom. In ecology, this is called the landscape of fear. A shark's true job isn't just to eat. His job is to bully. His presence in the water changes everything. Imagine a sea turtle. That turtle's favorite food is the lush, nutritious seagrass growing in the middle of a shallow bay. But the turtle doesn't go there. It stays at the edges in the rocky shallows, nibbling on tougher, less nutritious scraps. Why? Because it knows what hunts in the open. It knows that a dark shape in the water could mean the end. The shark, just by existing, protects that seagrass meadow. Now, remove the shark. The landscape of fear evaporates. The all-clear signal is sounded. That sea turtle and every other sea turtle swims out into the open bay and feasts. They graze the seagrass down to the sand. Within a year, the entire meadow is gone. And with it, the nursery for juvenile fish, the food for manatees, and the habitat for countless crabs and shrimp. The entire ecosystem, which was built on that seagrass, collapses. The turtle, in its newfound freedom, has destroyed its own world. This isn't a theory. This is a trophic cascade. A chain reaction that tumbles down the food web. The king wasn't just a tyrant. It was the keystone holding the entire arch together. We have documented this. We have seen it happen. In the Atlantic, the collapse of large shark populations led to an explosion in the number of cow-nosed rays. These rays, now released from their primary predator, were free to eat whatever they wanted. Their favorite food? Bay scallops. An entire, century-old scallop fishery in North Carolina collapsed. It was gone in less than a decade. The rays, free from fear, simply ate the industry into extinction. This is the phenomenon scientists call mesopredator release. Meso means middle. The mesopredators are the mid-level predators. The lieutenants of the food web. The lieutenants of the food web. When the king is gone, these lieutenants are released from control. Their populations explode. They run wild, and they begin to hunt and eat with a new, unchecked ferocity. We have broken the clockwork of the ocean, and now all the pieces are spinning out of control. This is the void we have created. So, Who is powerful enough to step into that chaos and build a new order? So, who steps up? The ocean is full of killers. Surely, the next in line is already waiting. If we are looking for a fish to replace the ocean's top dog, there are some very obvious, very powerful contenders. Let's look at the usual suspects. In the warm, complex cities of the coral reefs, the most obvious new boss is the Goliath grouper. This is not a fish you simply catch. It's a fish you encounter. They can grow to the size of a small car, over 800 pounds. They are not active hunters, but living, breathing ambush traps. They are a living cave that inhales their prey in a sudden, violent vacuum suck. Their mouths are so large they can swallow a 4-foot shark whole. They are territorial, intelligent, and have been seen aggressively muscling other predators, including sharks, off their patch of reef. In a world without great whites or tiger sharks, the sheer, brute force of the Goliath grouper makes it a prime candidate for the new heavy of the reef. But what about the vast, empty blue of the open ocean? That was the domain of the mako and the white shark. Who takes that? The candidate here is a marvel of evolution, the bluefin tuna. If the shark is an ancient warlord, the tuna is a high-tech assassin. It is a torpedo of pure muscle capable of bursts of speed over 40 miles per hour. But its real secret is its blood. It is one of the few fish on Earth that is warm-blooded. It is an endotherm just like a mammal. This allows it to generate its own body heat, keeping its brain and muscles warm in the freezing depths. It can hunt faster, think quicker, and endure longer than any cold-blooded competitor. It is a relentless, high-performance killing machine, built for pure speed and power. Alongside it, you have the marlin, the sailfish, the barracuda, all incredibly fast, effective predators. Surely, one of these sleek, powerful fish will rise up and take the crown. But they won't. Not a single one of them. In fact, they can't. They are failing. They are not the new kings. They are simply the last of the old aristocracy, being lined up for the guillotine right alongside the king they were meant to replace. The problem is twofold. First, they are also our victims. We are fishing them into oblivion. The bluefin tuna is critically endangered. Its population's a fraction of what they once were. The Goliath grouper was hunted so aggressively it was almost wiped off the planet, and is still in a fragile state of recovery. We are not just removing the apex predator, we are clear-cutting the entire upper level of the food web. These contenders can't take over a kingdom when they are also being hunted into extinction. And second, even if we left them alone, they are still just fish. They are part of the old system. They co-evolved with sharks for millions of years. They have a specific job, a specific niche. A grouper is built to guard a small patch of reef. A tuna is built to hunt schooling fish in the open ocean. They are specialists. They can't fill all the different, complex roles that the vast, diverse family of sharks, from the bottom-feeding nurse shark to the pelagic mako, manage to cover. They are powerful, yes, but they are not the new rulers. The old guard is gone. And if the old rulers are all dead, what happens? The answer isn't in the light. It's not in the sunlit waters of the reef. The answer is rising from the dark. If the throne is empty and all the old nobility is dead, who inherits the kingdom? The answer is something else entirely. Something ancient but also terrifyingly new. To find it, you have to look down. Past the sunlight zone, past the reefs, past the tuna. You have to look into the twilight zone. The deep, cold, black water where the rules of life are different. The creature that is filling the void isn't a fish. It has no bones. Its blood is blue, rich with copper, not iron. It has 3 hearts. It has a brain so large and complex it's wrapped around its own esophagus. But it's one of the most intelligent creatures on this planet. And it is rising from the abyss by the millions. Its name is Dositicus gigas, the Humboldt squid. And to the fishermen who have had the misfortune of meeting it, it has a much better name, Diablo Rojo, the Red Devil. This is not the squid you see in an aquarium. This is a living torpedo, growing up to 6 feet long and weighing over 100 pounds. It is pure muscle, capable of jet propulsion flight that can launch it out of the water and onto the decks of boats. It has a parrot-like beak, hidden in the center of its arms, So strong and sharp, it can shear through steel fishing leaders and easily snap a human spine. Its two longest tentacles are not for gentle touching. They are weapons, lined with over 200 suckers, and each sucker is filled with rings of razor-sharp teeth. When it grabs its prey, it's not a squeeze. It is a death hug that shreds its victim as it's pulled, alive, toward the grinding beak. But that is not the most terrifying thing about it. The most terrifying thing is its skin. The creature is covered in millions of tiny, pigment-filled cells called chromatophores, which are wired directly to its massive brain. It doesn't just change color. It communicates. In the pitch-black darkness of the deep, a pack of Humboldt squid will hunt, and they will talk to each other by flashing their entire bodies from a ghostly, pale white to a deep, terrifying blood red. They strobe, a silent, coordinated, pulsing language of light, a living strobe light party of death, signaling, flanking, and overwhelming their prey. They are known to hunt in shoals or packs of over 1,200 individuals, and they are relentlessly, pathologically aggressive. If one member of the pack is injured, if it's hooked on a fishing line, the others will not help it. They will instantly turn on it, and in a flashing, cannibalistic frenzy, tear their own companion to pieces. This is the creature that is coming up from the dark. This creature seems like something from a science fiction nightmare. So how could this red devil possibly replace a 400-million-year-old dynasty? How could a squid, a mollusk, replace the perfect predator? The answer is simple and brutal. It operates by a completely different rulebook. It is precisely because it is not a shark that it is winning. This is a war of life strategies, and we have picked the winner. To understand, you have to compare the two kings. The shark is what scientists call a K-strategist. Think of an elephant or a human. A K-strategist is built for stability. They live for a very long time. A Greenland shark can live for 400 years. They mature very, very slowly. A great white may not reproduce until it is 20 or 30 years old. And when they do reproduce, they have very few offspring, just a handful of live pups that they invest a lot of energy in. This is a successful strategy for a stable, predictable world. It is the strategy of a king. But it is a disastrous strategy for a world in chaos. It makes them incredibly, fatally vulnerable to overfishing. When you kill a 30-year-old shark, you are not just killing one animal. You are killing an animal that just became old enough to create the next generation. You are wiping out its entire future bloodline. They cannot bounce back. They cannot restock. We are removing them faster than they can ever hope to reproduce. The squid, on the other hand, is a barbarian horde. It is the ultimate R-strategist. Think of a rat or an insect. An R-strategist is built for chaos. They live for 1, maybe 2 years at most. They mature at a blinding speed, growing from a microscopic speck to a 6-foot, 100-pound giant in as little as 12 months. And when they reproduce, a single female will release millions of eggs, up to 20 million eggs. They live fast, die young, and leave 1 million corpses. Now look at what we've done. We have declared war on the K-strategists. We have systematically wiped out the old, slow-breeding kings with our long lines and gill nets. But in doing so, we also wiped out all the squid's other predators. The large tuna, the marlin, the billfish. We have, in effect, acted as the squid's personal army. We have meticulously cleared the entire upper floor of the ocean, eliminating every single one of their enemies. We have created a world with no kings, no stability, and no control. We have created the perfect world for an R-strategist. And now, they are releasing. They are exploding. The void we created is being filled by a creature that can outbreed our fishing pressure. The more we fish, the better they do. And the evidence is undeniable. For centuries, the Humboldt squid was a regional curiosity, confined by its predators and water temperature to the Humboldt Current off the coasts of Peru and Chile. That was its box. In the 1970s and 80s, as shark and tuna populations began to crash, the squid began to move. In the 1990s, they were being found in massive numbers off California. By the 2000s, they had pushed north to Oregon and Washington. By 2010, Alaska, they have expanded their range thousands of miles in just a few decades, perfectly occupying the new, empty territory we cleared for them. This is not a theory. It is an invasion, a regime change happening right under our noses. And it's not just their numbers, it's their intelligence. Their brains, while alien, are capable of complex problem-solving and communication. They are not the lone, majestic hunter. They are a coordinated, cold, and calculated collective. They are a swarm. So, we've traded a shark for a squid, a king for a swarm. Does it really matter? Predator is a predator, right? The system will just balance itself out. But it won't, because this isn't a like-for-like replacement. We haven't just traded one ruler for another. We have traded order for chaos. A shark and a squid swarm do not manage an ecosystem in the same way. A shark is a scalpel, culls the weak, the sick, the old, keeps populations healthy. It operates on the landscape of fear, which, as we saw, protects entire habitats. The shark's role creates balance. The Humboldt squid is a chainsaw. A swarm of Humboldt squid is a plague of locusts. They are generalist predators, which means they eat everything. They will swarm a region and, in a Diablo Rojo frenzy, they will consume it all. The fish, the crabs, the smaller squid, and each other. Ask the fishermen in the Sea of Cortez. They used to have a rich fishery for marlin, tuna, and grouper. Now, in many areas, all they catch are squid. Their lines, baited for valuable fish, are stripped to the bone in seconds by swarms of red devils. Ask the scientists tracking the hake fishery off the Pacific coast. The squid are now in direct, devastating competition with us, and with every other animal, for that same food source. They don't cull the hake population. They delete it. They are not a new manager. They are a new, overwhelming competitor that is destroying the very food webs we, and countless other species, depend on. And their cannibalism is not just a quirk. It's their greatest weapon. It makes them a trophic loop. When they have eaten all the fish, they can just eat each other. This means their population is not tied to the health of other species. They are an ecosystem of one. This allows them to maintain a boom and bust cycle of such epic, unpredictable proportions that it throws the entire ocean out of balance. The takeaway is not that sharks are good and squid are bad. The point is that ecosystems are built on balance, often a balance that has taken millions of years to establish. The shark was a product of that balance. A slow, steady, stabilizing force. A king that ruled a predictable kingdom. We didn't just kill the king. We shattered the throne. We tore down the ancient, stable walls of the castle, not understanding what they were holding back. And in the darkness, in the chaos we created, we invited in something new. Something fast, cold, and relentlessly intelligent. Something that breeds by the million and hunts as one. We set out to conquer the ocean's greatest predator. And in our victory, we have accidentally, irrevocably, unleashed its replacement. We have created an ocean that is run by a swarm. And the new rules of this ocean are ones we do not understand at all.